head-to-head test event, which is also one of our Season 9 qualifiers. We are super excited to be kicking it off with an amazing course by Ryan Tanner, who has been cooking up some crazy obstacles this entire weekend. We are jumping right into it with the preteen male and female divisions in-house. I'm Kane Casillas alongside Will Schlageter.
Hello, everybody. So we've got a great competition coming up, double elimination. So even if an athlete takes a loss, they can still make their way up in our comeback bracket. We're going to be using a modification of the challenge course format. How does that work, Kane?
Well, normally with the challenge course, we have 2 retries on 2 different obstacles. You don't want to fail the same obstacle twice. You don't want to fail on 3 different obstacles, and that stays the same. However, normally in the challenge course, a timer is stopped and paused so that way an obstacle can be reset. Here for our head-to-head event, the timer will not be stopping. We can't stop the race. The other athlete is just going to have to watch as their competition continues to pull ahead, and hopefully they can close the gap. We have seen quite a few come from behind wins, so it's not out of the question.
That's right. And you can see here on our screen, we have Simon Gelman sitting in the top seed with no one right beneath him. He's actually going to be running early. He's going to be one of the first runs, and he's going to have what we call a run against a ghost run. So he's going to be running the course on his own so that he's not at a disadvantage when he races either Glinton or Casper later, because they'll get a chance to run the course once before they even go up against Simon. So if you have that by round 1, we're going to see those athletes take to it first, racing against nobody, gives them a little chance to get a feeling of the course. And I'm really excited to see how this course has changed from the mature kids into the preteens. What do you think we might see out here, Kane?
I think we're going to see some gaps further apart. I think we're going to see a couple of sliders be a little bigger. I think the laches are going to end up a lot bigger. We might see moves that will be a little tougher to link, but are still doable. And as we've seen, as athletes get more comfortable on the course, links and skips start to come into play a lot more. I have a feeling that this first round, these first couple of rounds actually, are going to be a bit interesting. I think we're going to see some people try for skips and miss them, or not try for skips because they're worried about the distance. And how that affects the long term is going to be very interesting. With that said, though, we have some very, very strong athletes lined up today. Who are a couple that have caught your eye, Will?
I mean, you can see his name right there. I already said it once, Simon Gelman. He is really, really fast. We saw him in the Premier Series finals. We saw him at Worlds. He got all the way, I'm pretty sure, to stage 3 last year. He is an absolute force to be reckoned with. Another maybe lesser known athlete that's going to be a little bit lower in the frame here is Quincy Heilman, coming out of my home gym of Stanford. I might have a little bit of a bias there, but he has been really pushing his speed as of late, and he's been eager to show it off. Another one here, Sebastian Robodin. I feel like I haven't seen him at a lot of competitions recently, but whenever he shows up to a competition, he is consistently one of the top 3 athletes. So those are just a couple that stick out to me. Who am I missing here, Kane?
You know, I think you've covered a lot of the big ones. Over on the female side, though, we do have Riley Hunt, who is the world champion from the 2022 championships back in season 7, a Premier Series finalist as well this past fall. She's going to be facing off against Lola Rukas, who has also been an absolute force to be reckoned with in the regular season. We've got a lot of people with not a lot of experience in head-to-head races in competition, but we do have Katarina Maniasi, so sorry about that, coming out of the Grit Ninja in Norwalk, competed in the head-to-head event at the Northeast Ninja Association All-Stars Games, where she, I believe she placed top 10 in both, which is incredibly high for these race formats. They're incredibly difficult to succeed in when there's so many races that have to be done back to back to back to back.
And here we go. Looks like Simon's getting his ghost race started off. You see, there's absolutely no one he's racing against. He's just getting a feel for the course. They took away that landing platform for the mature kids, and he's going up from the ring straight to the books. You can see he's not really pushing for his fastest time. He's just trying to get a good feeling on everything since he doesn't have that pressure against him.
You can see there, those agility steps are raised a little bit from... Oh, man, he tried to go straight for a long jump. I like it, but at the same time, Maybe not the strat at the end of the day. Maybe we'll see some people do it. It looked like he got close, but I'm gonna play it safer. Get a little familiar with the TikTok. He might have to stick with that in the future.
Yeah, this is one of those things where he's just getting a feeling of the course. He can take a risk right now. There's no one that he's racing against that might catch up to him. So this is really him looking, okay, where are
Ooh,
all of the people going to be going faster than me? Where can I make up time? Small mistake there. I hope his grip's not too taxed going into these cliffhangers. If they're the same ones from yesterday, those are 1.25 inch cliffs, real small, especially pretty late in a course that could really get you. And you can see we still got the same little ring and a bear trap finish there. Good run. Really good run right there.
absolutely. He definitely is doing his research by getting some hands-on experience there. You could tell that when he hit the buzzer, he was not entirely satisfied with his run. Obviously, made a couple of slip ups, but he definitely has that knowledge of the course swirling around in his mind. And I think we're going to see more links, skips, and pops from him.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get the chance to just touch everything, you can size things up. You saw he went for a link on the spinning discs. He went for that big move on the TikTok. Definitely pushing for speed. And it looks like we've got another ghost race here. This is Riley Hunt on the starting block right there.
And it looks like
See
Riley.
other athletes getting off to the side, eager to watch some of these really fast athletes on their first runs because you know they're going to be showing you what they're doing in their course run, and then all the other athletes know what they've got to do to beat it.
Now, Riley, also coming out of Ninja Mania, we've had quite a few Ninja Mania athletes make it very far in this competition, be it because they had experience at Ninja Mania competitions or just because they know the obstacles well. But Riley showing that confidence on the course, not really wasting any time. Maybe could have jumped out for that rope, but chooses not to. No real need to right now. Very
Man, you see
huge
him
jump.
speeding into that rope slider. A lot of our mature kids athletes getting hung up there. I'm going to guess that we won't see that many of our preteen athletes getting hung up in the same area with all the extra experience these guys have. A little
Ooh,
slip up there, but she gets back up. That's not a fail. She just took a little bit of a fall after dismounting. So still very much having a smooth run, no fails, great time from Riley.
it's going to be very interesting to see. I can already tell that, I mean, there's two cliff ledges. I have a feeling we're going to see people skip from that first one. I don't really see the need as the competition gets more intense to really touch every single part of every obstacle. So I have a feeling that's going to be one of the first skips that we're going to see as this competition progresses.
We'll probably see some laches from the ring toss into the books from further and further back as the athletes get more and more comfortable. I believe that we probably will eventually see people doing the run through on that TikTok as well. But it seems like there might be less places to really make up time on this course compared to the others. What do you think?
You know, I would agree. It looks like a lot of these are quick dismounts, one move and go. I think pull power is going to be incredibly important here because it doesn't seem like there's many opportunities to link necessarily. It's going to be about minimizing backswings and popping through at the right moments. Those who can do that the quickest and the most efficiently are most likely going to be our successful athletes who are going to make it far.
All right, I believe this is Grace Charbonneau running right here. A really strong athlete coming out of Ninja Mania. Getting all the books here, not taking a risk on her dismount, wanting to make sure she gets through it nice and smooth. Big, powerful backswing and going right into the spinning discs. Looking for the link and gets an early dismount. You see that gray pad there is what they have to dismount to, not the red block. And there might be a difference there for the women's and the men's side of the course. We'll check that out in a little bit and sort of see how it changes between the athletes.
And there we go. Very quick moves on that ladder. Got a little bit of a bar that you can reach up to. I don't know if it's entirely necessary. I think that might be a skipping point. But for now, gonna play it a little safer.
I feel like we saw Riley skip that bar during her run, but I can't be sure. We'll definitely see how the athletes adjust moving forward. As you can see, she's got all that chalk on her leg. She is making sure that if she needs some, she's got some.
And a quick reach out to that bear trap slider, hits the buzzer, and is going to wrap up her ghost run. Great job overall.
Yeah, no mistakes. I wouldn't say it's the smoothest run. I bet her next time she's running, though, she'll be a lot more dialed in, a lot more ready to pick up the pace and sort of push through these obstacles a little more fluidly. And again, it's a ghost run. She's just getting a good feel for it. And it looks like we've got two more ghost runs coming up. Malone Cantor out of the New York Ninja Academy and Lola Raucus. She's coached by Lucas Reale up in Massachusetts. So we got some really good female athletes coming up. See, she's doing a couple last-minute checks in her head, making sure she has a good game plan before she starts running. I really love watching Malone. I think she climbs up to like V8 in the bouldering scale,
Wow.
so she's a really strong kid. So those cliffhangers at the end won't be taxing for her.
There's that skip on the floating steps. I was wondering, we do have some taller athletes here with longer wingspans. I was wondering if that skip was attainable for them and who was going to go for that.
She's getting a little
Ooh.
hung up here. Again, though, it's a ghost run, so she just needs to figure out a way to make it work. If I were her, I might even consider taking a fall and getting a second clean try, just so you know what you're going to get into.
Yeah, and you have to think as well, the longer she's hanging up there, this isn't the most pumpy course in the world by any means, but this could definitely tax a bit of energy knowing that you're going to have at least 2 races.
And she's
Ooh,
spinning
catches it
again. You
off
got to
center
lock
again.
off and kick to the opposite direction where you're trying to go to get a good dismount from those spinners. And she got it on that one. Making her way deeper into the course now. Got to touch everything. The more that you can get your hands on, the better prepared you'll be when you have to race again. So we're seeing some really good work here out of Malone.
Great sprint through. We can see the strides on these preteen athletes really coming into play here. There's still a gap between the steps. Oh, an interesting slip there. And this will be interesting to see. They do not have the run up of the steps this time around. They have to really jump in and force their way across. Not a problem for Malone, though. Big pull back.
Wow.
Gonna center herself and get the dismount this time. Oh, goes a little off, but she does cross the platform, so she will be continuing on the course. Oh, she's
Wow.
gonna
It looks
drop
like
that
she just
down.
got maybe a little too tired on that spinning disc. A little bit too much to get started here. You can see she got a great pullback, but she's throwing to the left-hand side there. I think maybe if she got her right hand forward, she could lean a little bit more to the right and get a cleaner dismount there. I'm sure she'll adjust. She's got a lot of great people around to learn from, and she's going to get to watch a bunch of matches here before she comes back up on the stage. All right, in our last ghost race here, we got Lola Raucus. Lola been a
Lola
dominant
definitely.
force all across the age divisions that she's been growing up. Been seeing her for a long time now. We saw her younger sister Mila earlier. I think we're going to see her brother Grayson as well in the male division. So the Raucus family, really strong group there. Love seeing families at Ninja together. Ooh,
Ooh,
making a
good
little
save.
mistake here on the agility, but gets the rope and gets into the fidget spinner. That was pretty impressive.
I really like the complete lack of start and finish platforms after the agility. I like that you're having to run into the uh, the next section of the course straight up to that rope and the fidget spinner. But Lola goes down on that TikTok. Didn't exactly get a very high jump. Went more for distance, it appears, and maybe just slid a little bit of her foot too far off the TikTok while jumping.
You see, she's staying low when she's jumping towards that rope, and that's really making her body hit this sort of Superman position. And when you're holding a vertical grip and swinging that hard, it's so easy to just slip and accidentally foot tap. I think that's what we just saw there. But getting the big dismount that Malone was struggling with, so that's a really good job from her. Keeping it
Again, moving
dialed,
over
even
to
with the
the.
mistakes, just making sure she gets a feel for
Oh
everything. And
my goodness! A little bit
Maybe
of a
pushing a
stumble
little
there.
too fast for a ghost run here.
Possibly. Well, she knows now how sensitive these obstacles can be, where you can and can't step, how hard you can and can't swing on certain things. Hopefully, she'll take that knowledge and will push forward with that as her races begin.
Yeah, and we see, again, all these people, the boys and girls that got these ghost runs are, I believe, the top seeded athletes that are here. So they probably are taking some bigger risks than we might see some of these other athletes do. But we're going to find out right now with our first race, Glinton and Casper, the winner of which is going to end up facing off against Simon.
And we see Casper on the left side of your screen, Glinton on the right. Both athletes getting ready to go.
All right, and there they are heading off right up into the ring toss. See a little bit of a bigger skip there. Really liking what I'm seeing here. These athletes are getting through it pretty well. Hopefully they're looking for their dismount kind of soon. They should be able to, and there we go. Glinton, the first one off. Now let's see how well they build their swing here into the spinning discs. A lot of athletes I'm expecting to probably get a little turned around here, but Glinton getting his wide grip right away. And you can see that gray mat is taken away. So the men, the preteen males, do have to do a further dismount here, it would appear, than the preteen females. Let's see how else the course might be different as we move forward. We only got to see Simon before. Oh, and Casper took a fail there, but luckily the agility is fully reset. You can see him dialing himself back in, getting up one more time. Glinton building himself up on the TikTok, getting that rope by the skin of his teeth. He is moving, and I'm pretty sure he was wearing glasses when he started.
He was definitely wearing glasses in his photo. I think he might have taken them off.
That might be. That's a good point. I was just hoping someone else shared my experience of breaking their glasses in the middle of their run. Not actually hoping for it. I'd hate for that to happen to another athlete.
Oh,
but
no. And he goes down on obstacle 3. Ooh, a little stumble there from Glinton.
He's just got to center himself, get back on. He doesn't need to do anything crazy. He just wants to make sure that he can touch these sky hooks. See him linking right into it. Good aggression out of Glinton. That was awesome.
Absolutely. And there we can see Casper also still trying to get a feel of the course, even though his run officially ended on obstacle 3. Can definitely be tricky trying to navigate on those spinning discs, especially with that platform taken away for the preteen males. That does mean that you do have to hop on over to that second disc, provides a new opportunity to link, but also a new opportunity to get twisted up.
Yeah, exactly. Those spinning discs, I think, are going to be a crux point for this, especially when you consider that the agility is straight before it. Like, what an incredible back-to-back obstacle series. I think that's going to be probably the hot point of this whole thing. Next up, we got Jason and Grayson coming out. Grayson Ruckus. We saw his sister run just before. Again, the young man trained by Lucas Reale. And we got Jason Hudak, another really strong athlete coming out of Ninja Mania.
All right, Grayson,
they're both
maybe a little bit of a grab ahead, gets the dismount first. He's going to sprint right through that agility. That might be the fastest we've seen someone go so far. Under bars, that quick dismount. Is he going to go straight for the rope? No, he's going to take one swing. He's going to jump right out. He's still got the lead. Grayson, huge jump, reaches over. Going to do one pull, two pull. Going to match and go. A little twist, maybe could shave a couple seconds off there, but still a significant lead. Oh, but he misses that dismount there, as it looks like Jason got a little stuck on the TikTok and is now starting to catch up.
Grayson tried to skip the cliffhangers. I wonder if we'll see that coming up later from him again.
Ooh. And it looks like Grayson's going to use his second retry on the lily pads while Jason is hung up once again on that rope slider. Grayson going to link through and pop down that slider, hit the buzzer, and take his first win.
Man, I'd love to see him do it again a little bit more clean, because he had me a little bit worried there. Still, Jason pushing through here, getting his touch on everything, not taking a fail on the lily pads. And yeah, good run from Jason. Congratulations to Grayson, our first win in the winner's bracket for the first round here, the official first round.
And again, we're seeing the aggression. It's more about pulling power on that second obstacle, especially when you get to those floating steps. Great save by Jason there. Didn't waste one of his retries on something trivial like kneeling down. But at the end of the day, it's Grayson who's going to get his first win. Jason will still be in the comeback bracket and has plenty of opportunity to redeem himself and possibly get even further in the competition.
And I think we'll see it. We saw Jason's awareness there, falling and turning his fall into the next obstacle was actually pretty impressive awareness from him. But next up, we've got Sebastian and Griffin. Sebastian Robotin, really strong guy, coming out of Ninja Mania. And Griffin coming all the way from Action Athletics. Two really talented guys. You see, they've got kind of similar hair here, so expecting to see a pretty good run, though. Both making their way quickly out of the ring toss and looking for the early dismount. Sebastian, the first one off.
Griffin just a little bit behind.
The spinning discs here.
Good links out of Sebastian. And Griffin actually misses that dismount. He's going to have to go back to the agility. Even tougher to fall in that section of the course now, Will, because now you have even more to do. And down goes Griffin for good on this race. Sebastian's got the win. He's going to try and gather a little more beta on this course. So for his next race, he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, and you could see Griffin was going for his links on those spinning discs, being pressured by Sebastian, and these athletes just respecting each other, really giving it 100%. You have to go fast. They're both such good athletes, and they're just still out here pushing it, trying to get that finish. Sebastian just trying to touch everything. He knows he's got the win, but he's still trying to go fast. You don't want to go slow and have your body sort of get used to that speed.
And here comes Griffin section. Actually linking through the skyhooks a little faster than... yeah, that was very fast by Griffin, essentially. And there's those links I could see. I see what you mean. The disc just spun out of Griffin's hands as he was attempting the link there.
I think we're going to see some good races out of Griffin in the comeback bracket. Congratulations to Sebastian, though, moving on. And he's going to face one of either Jake Rotzman or Hunter Chance Gabo right here. We've got Jake repping Empire on the right there. And, of course, we got Hunter from Ultimate Obstacles on the left.
Looks like both of them are just trying to get settled, chalk up a little bit, stay warm before the race officially starts. And here we go. Hunter with a little bit of a little more aggressive on those rings. And a bit of a pull right there. He's going to get off very quickly. And already onto that fidget spinner, putting the pressure on Jake Rotzman.
Wow, Jake linking it. Had to make up the difference there. And he is one half swing behind on this TikTok. But Hunter had more momentum into it, and he is taking the initiative.
And it seems like Jake actually fell on that TikTok. He's going to have to try again, which again gives Hunter an opportunity to pull ahead. He's going to grab onto that cliff. He's going to pop down to the second, dismount quickly, and sprint across those lily pads. No careless mistakes there. Very fancy footwork. Get himself twisted around, popping on over. Now, how's he going to do popping over to that bear trap? And you know what? Jake is closing the gap. He just got to the sky hooks with a one-handed grab. What a move. That might be the smoothest transition we've seen on this particular setup of that obstacle.
Have you ever seen someone just do a skyhook move one-handed like that in competition before? Because that was incredible.
This is definitely a first for me.
He's doing some freestyle ninja right now. That's pretty awesome. But Hunter, I think that might have been the smoothest run we've seen yet out of any of these athletes. Congratulations for Hunter getting through that. Did a great job. All right.
All right.
Next up, we got Owen from the Windsor Ninja Academy coming in on your left right there. And we got Jacob on the right coming out of Strive Fitness. See, it's pretty neck and neck in the start here. It looks like Jacob's got maybe a half swing ahead and getting the early dismount advantage on Owen. But actually, Owen quickly links out from a closer book ending there.
And it looks like Jacob also had to take a little bit of an extra swing. Both peel off, and they're both going to have to reset.
Now, if one of them takes another fail, unfortunately, that'll mean that it is over, and it'll come down to who dismounted that obstacle faster. Owen, one swing away from the dismount. Can he secure it? And he does, but he goes to the wrong platform and has to go back. So he's taking a second fail now.
And there goes all of his retries. It's one and done for Owen from now on. Not only that, but Jacob has gotten to pull ahead. But Jacob foot taps. Now he's on his last legs as well. Owen trying to dismount, gets the rope and gets out of there. He's going to pull ahead.
Both athletes cannot make another mistake. They have to stay in it.
And here comes Jacob pulling through the ladder. A few moves behind Owen, but he's going to give a nice pullback, reach up for that bar as well, and hop
the reverse grab on the cliffhanger from Owen.
That's going to cost him a couple of seconds.
But Jacob's got to be right on his tail.
And just like that, Owen on the skyhooks. Jacob sprinting through to it. He's going to have to do this in one move and pop over. Who's going to get down the slider first? What a close race, but Owen's going to take it. 134.2 and 134.6. Owen with the win over Jacob.
That's exactly the type of race that I actually like to see, where neither athlete, I would love to see both athletes have a perfectly clean run, but the tension when an athlete makes a mistake and the other one has an opportunity to catch up is huge. And you could see there, even though Owen had the advantage, he was forward by a couple of seconds and a couple of obstacles, Jacob managed to come back on him. And that was really good. Next up, Jack Gillen and Niall Donahoe. Looks like we got two more of Lucas Reali's students coming out here, going head to head. No matter what, I'm sure Coach Lucas is going to be proud of them. They're leaning forward, dialed in.
Niall got a little stuck on the rope, on the ring toss there. And that does mean that Mr. Gillen's going to pull ahead a little bit.
Oh, and Niall's hitting his links, making it in one.
And Jack finally starting to catch up. He's going to jump through. Now, how far is that rope? Because all of these athletes are jumping pretty far to it, not really able to make that skip. And their legs are getting pretty dangerously close to the ground. We saw Niall almost touch there. And
it looks to me like Niall's a taller athlete. He's probably used to keeping those legs up. You see him get a little bit of extra chalk there. Probably smart for these cliffhangers. You need to make sure you don't make a mistake because Jack is right behind him, and they are neck and neck. It's going to come down to who can link, who can get through.
Niall goes down, and it's going to be Jack on the skyhooks alone. Niall trying to pull up. He's going to have to link if he wants to win this race. He gets the static, but it's just not in time to catch Jack. Jack started off behind Niall on this first half of the race. You could see there he got a little caught up on those discs, and Niall really expanded that lead. But it was over on those sliders that Jack was able to close the gap, and then a little slip up on the lily pads is what cost the race for Niall.
I hate to say it, but I mean, yes, the lily pad slip up, but also maybe if Niall didn't get that chalk right before the slider, he might have had that extra second and a half he needed, even with the slight mess up on the lily pads. But great run from both of them, so I'm sure we're going to see Niall making his way up in the comeback bracket. Next, we got Lucas Savage and Charles Graham.
Now, this one's going to be very interesting. I've seen Lucas train. He trains very hard over at center court, always throwing huge moves. He can do a 12-foot lache. Mind you, this is the division for 11 and 12-year-olds. So 1 foot of a lache for every year, essentially.
That's pretty impressive. That would be kind of crazy if I could do a 26-foot lache, but I can't. And on the other side, we got Charles coming out of Empire, run by a bunch of veteran ninjas. Great facility. You can see Lucas coming up ahead a little bit right here.
And a Great move so far. It's going to be
Oh.
Charles. A little spun around, both of them. Lucas is going to go for it, and now he's twisting around. You can tell that he wants to link. He's going to fall backward.
No!
Charles has the opportunity, but he's going to drop, and now they're both back on an even playing field.
It looks to me like Charles might not be very familiar with spinning discs. He's got to really lock it in on this first one. Turn around, start kicking, and get out of there. And if Lucas makes another mistake here, that could be it. But both athletes get through it. Both are moving on around the corner. Super good running from both of them. Who's going to get off of that TikTok first? We got Lucas looking for it, and he makes the catch. Charles gets it right after him. And we got ourselves a race here, Kane. This is a good one, man.
Oh, man, but Charles, it doesn't look like was able to reach that ladder. Now he's going to have to pull himself up and over. Can he get the reach? He's climbing that rope, fighting for it. And it looks like he's out in no man's land. That's going to end his run. Lucas Savage is going to walk away with this one. And it looks like now he's just going to try his best here on the skyhooks. Going to take an extra swing. Perhaps we'll start to see a few more links in the future. Know that he's capable of it.
I think a lot of these athletes are still just getting that feeling for the course. They just got to understand how everything lines up a little bit better, and then we'll start seeing the absolute crazy pace pushing that we can expect from these guys.
And now we're going to go over to Quincy Heilman and Rocco Bellick. We're going to be racing.
Shout out Quincy. Comes from my gym. You know, I might be a little biased, but I'll do my best to commentate unbiasedly. But Quincy's really been working his speed. Rocco, I've been seeing him come out to a couple of competitions. Really good athlete, super fast. So I'm sure we're going to have a good race here. Might even have a little bit of a buzzer beater between these guys. It'll all come down to who takes the risks and whose risks actually pay off.
All right, and now we're going to see the final first round race in the winner's bracket for the preteen male division. Great grab. Oh, but looks like Quincy got a little caught up on that move, but he's going to go for a big skip there on the floating steps. Drops down. They are neck and neck right now.
Woo! Yeah, that was close for both athletes. Rocco now with a little advantage, linking through the spinning discs, doing a great job staying ahead right now.
You can see Quincy kind of take a small little glance over at Rocco as he was sizing up that dismount. He knew that he wasn't going to dismount right away, so he took a little look, and Rocco flying through, maybe a little low on that rope, but he really used his speed to whip himself up.
Oh, no! Quincy failed on the TikTok, so he's got to redo that obstacle. That's one of the longest obstacles on the course. So it really just comes down to, can Rocco just keep his nerve and get through the last couple obstacles here clean?
Great footwork out of Rocco. He's going to come right up and pop right over. Big reach, and he's going to slide. Oh, no, but he misses the dismount. It's not over. Quincy can make a comeback, but Rocco has shown that he can link over to that red ring. And that's always going to take an extra backswing. It's anyone's game right now. Here comes Quincy, and Rocco's going to get it this time around as Quincy approaches the skyhooks. A great run from both athletes. Way to not give up out of Quincy.
Yeah, really. That was really good. Keeping himself in the game. Quincy did a great job staying composed. Looks like, I wish we saw sort of what happened on that TikTok. It looks like maybe he just went a little bit early on the dismount than he should have. But Rocco, man, that kid can move. He was pushing the pace the whole time, hitting links, didn't make really a single mistake other than that last move on the skyhooks.
And there we have it. We've got Glinton and Simon. We saw both of these athletes run before. Simon had a ghost run. Glinton had to race. So this is Simon's first race, technically. We'll see if that affects his mentality coming into this matchup.
Glinton, yeah, he made a couple of mistakes, a couple little errors in his first run in the ghost race. So we'll see how he cleans those up.
Ooh.
What happened there?
I think his hands just might have slipped around. He might have gotten too much of his wrists on the rope and not enough of his actual palms. And here we go. They're both on the same disc. And down goes Simon. That's
So,
his second fail on that obstacle. And so with a clear, Glinton is going to take the win on this race.
wow, that is an early surprise, an early exit from our first seed. And you can see after the fall, he's now just going to push it. He is sort of rage running this course right now, it seems. Glinton got a little caught up on the TikTok, it looks like. Simon now just walking through, doesn't even care about the lily pads. He just wants to use sky hooks.
And you can see here, Glinton, if you look at the top left of your screen, we do still have a time limit for this course. Glinton definitely can still clear in time, but it's going to be about the overall speed in which he does it as he progresses through the winner's bracket. The competition is only going to get tougher.
Yeah, it's really important, I think, that he pushes himself here to really be efficient in getting through these obstacles and trying to get there in the time limit. Good jump link right there on the sky hooks.
And a buzzer for Glinton. What a great run. What a shock, though, out of Simon.
Yeah, he was just pushing himself maybe a little harder than he needed to get through that. But maybe he was pushing himself as hard as he thinks he needs to beat some of the later athletes. Either way, we're going to see him in the comeback bracket in a little bit. We're moving over now to the first round for the female bracket. So here we go. We got Rebecca, and I think I said Cameron. So there we go. Cameron on the left, Rebecca on the right. Let's see who can keep their nerve going through these obstacles.
Moving through. Here we go. Big old sprint on those Bosus. And it looks like some big efficient swings. Again, minimizing the back swings, especially on this obstacle, is what's going to get you out ahead early. An early dismount from Cameron. And she's already onto that fidget spinner. Rebecca not
and
far
Cameron
behind, though.
out of there first. Oh, man, the legs of Rebecca are kind of getting close to Cameron here. Let's see if she can get herself squirreled away.
Cameron's going to jump right out and pop on over. Oh, steps on the wrong spot. Again, we've seen this in past divisions. You have to know where you're going. If you step on something you're not supposed to, you are going to get a fail for that obstacle, and you'll have to use a retry, which is exactly what we just saw.
But luckily, that's a mistake you're only going to make once, hopefully, on the course. So good for Cameron being able to catch that now. And she was fortunate enough to have a bit of a lead already. Now let's see if she can figure out this cliffhanger move. It looks like she might have to reset. And Rebecca's starting to catch up. She definitely should take that reset.
Well, here comes Rebecca. Currently on the quad steps, is going to be running through over to that rope slider in just a bit. And now it's going to come down to Cameron on the sky hooks. Huge pop over. She's just going to have to reach for that ring. Gets it. And drops down onto the buzzer. 1 minute 40 seconds for a first run. A great run out of Cameron to start her tournament off.
And it looks like Rebecca maybe got a little caught up there on the rope slider. That was a crux point for the mature kids division, and we've already seen a couple of fails on it here today. These sliders, there's a strange tech to them, and you really got to jump fast and low to make them work to your advantage here. We'll see how the athletes adjust, and we'll see Rebecca in the comeback bracket. Next up, the Battle of the Claires, Claire Dana and Claire Gallers. Claire Gallers actually coming out of Stanford Ninja Academy. She is an athlete that is actually, I believe, her first Tier 1 competition. She's been doing the Tier 2 competitions. She really enjoyed the head-to-head that we've been doing in practice and decided to sign up. So I'm really eager to see how she does here.
Wow. That is impressive. First Tier 1 competition, and you decide to do it in a race format. That takes guts.
Well, I got to give it to her. She was winning every competition that we had. in our competitive team, on our junior team. So I'm really expecting her to do pretty well out here. I see that Claire Danner's got the advantage right now, but Claire Galler's not letting it catch her out of step,
Ooh,
using the rope
gonna
to
have
help
to
her get that
realign
swing back.
herself. And Claire Danner using a big swing there on the TikTok. Looks like she's ready to go. She just reaches
Man,
out for the rope, doesn't even bother to jump. And it
she
looks
could have
like Claire
skipped the rope,
Gallers
I think.
Claire Gallers has finished the turnaround, is now on the TikTok. Gonna have to cover some ground pretty quickly
Yeah,
as Claire Danner's already on obstacle 8.
we've seen athletes make some mistakes later in the course, but it looks like Claire Danner has a really clean run here. One of the smoothest we've seen. No mistakes, no hang-ups, just a smooth run, a great dismount. Good job, Claire Danner. She's going to take the win, and she is moving on. See, Claire
Claire
Gallers, though,
Gallers, on the
hasn't
other
taken the
hand,
fall, using that grip strength right there, the one-hand catch on the cliffhanger.
ooh, I was about to highlight the fact that she had not fallen as well. And just a little slip, she came onto that cliffhanger facing the wrong way. And that's not exactly, you don't want to be facing away from it and have to reverse grab and really twist your arm. So maybe she'll come at that at a different angle on her next run. I think besides that, it was a very, very smooth race by both Claires. Claire Danner obviously had that reach as well on the skyhook. You could see she just kind of stuck her arm out. But
Yeah, she's definitely got a little bit of a reach advantage there. Great run, super smooth. She's coming out of Ninja Mania, so she's got a little bit of that home field advantage. But next up, Kate Ruiz and Taylor Wyman. Two more powerhouses here. Kate Ruiz coming out of Empire. Taylor, I'm pretty sure is a Ninja Mania athlete. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself. Yep, she is from Ninja Mania. So again, having that sort of like knowing what the atmosphere is like inside your own gym is pretty important. But Kate, just an absolute force to be reckoned with in any ninja course, especially speed. She usually wins a lot of competitions because she is so fast. So I'm eager to see how both of these girls get through here. Taking a lot of moves on the books. I'm predicting, Kane, that we're going to start seeing people doing Lachey dismounts on those books from much further back.
I agree. I think we're either going to see a skip of that ascending step or we are going to see a dismount from way further back. But right now, it looks like Kate Ruiz is really trying to generate a swing and get swapped around on that TikTok. But here comes Taylor. Definitely not out of it yet. Kate manages to keep her legs off the ground, but falls forward. Doesn't have the most amount of swing there. Not a lot of speed coming into that slider. She's going to have to reset now.
She's got to get it now. She's got to pull through, and she's got to make sure she gets her dismount. Otherwise, this could go to Taylor. And she throws from far back and manages to get it. Taylor only a half obstacle behind. This is looking really good for both of them. There's a chance here, if Kate can keep her pressure up, that she'll get through it. And it looks like she is going to get to the last obstacle first. Taylor a few behind. Linking, jump linking on the skyhooks. Love to see it out of Kate. And that's going to secure the victory for her. Great job, Kate. Taylor looks like she got a little hung up on the cliffhanger. Yeah, unfortunately, looks like that small edge is, I mean, it is an 1.25 inch ledge. Super small cliffhanger. Great job, Taylor, running through that far, though.
And there we go.
Yeah, there it is again. Kate getting her
very
buzzer.
dominant run there for Kate. Yes, absolutely. And now we're going to be headed over to Katarina and Faith. The winner will face Lola in the next round.
Yep, and you sort of highlighted Katarina earlier, coming out of Grit and Norwalk. A lot of great coaches coming out of there. Faith Padilla, one of the Windsor Ninja Academy students, being coached by Joe Moravsky today. And I think, out of everyone in that building, you got to imagine that Joe Moravsky has the most head-to-head racing experience. So hopefully he's got some good advice for Faith here.
And a big old reach. Katarina out of there first. Gonna hop up those agility sticks right there. Grabbing onto that fidget spinner. Going to take one extra swing, and that is going to give Faith a little bit of time to close the gap. But these can be so tricky. These discs can be so difficult to stay centered.
Woo!
But it looks like Katarina's going to get out of there. Bit of a shaky dismount, but it works for her, and she's carrying that turnaround momentum into the TikTok. Great generation of speed, but here comes Faith. Runs right through. And Katarina capitalizing on Faith hesitating there. So Katarina's going to extend her lead as she comes up this ladder. Huge wingspan, big old reaches right there, and she's going to get out of there. Oh,
No!
but misses the dismount. And now if Faith can get out of the TikTok, which she does, this is going to be a lot closer because both of these athletes are going to be on the same obstacle. Faith reaching up the ladder.
Katarina opened the door for Faith to come back right here. Faith looks like she might be a little tired, not moving with a huge sense of urgency. And she slipped.
Faith peels back, going for that top bar so she could get a higher vantage point to dismount. And it looks like sliders may not be these ladies' strong suit. Katarina having to take a little reset. Good pop, though, from the nunchuck to the cliffhanger. She's going to dismount there and has 2 obstacles remaining.
Really smart from Katarina, using her reset, knowing that if she goes back to the box, she can give it a second try, and keeping her cool, getting her buzzer. Great job, Katarina, getting her clear. And looked like Faith just got hung up again on that rope slider.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it looks like they both actually timed up, Will. We saw red boxes for both of them. I believe we have a 1 minute, 45-second time limit. And Katarina actually got there with about 3 seconds left on the clock to do the sky hooks. So might not have gotten there entirely, but definitely knows where she can clean up for the future rounds. But now we're going to take it over to the comeback bracket of the mature kids, or not mature kids, of the preteen male division. Casper is going to be racing against Quincy.
All right, this is going to be a good race, Casper. On the left, Quincy. On the right, you can see Quincy is hungry for it. Head down, ready to move it.
And you can see Quincy really using that reach to his advantage, pulling through those steps, going right there, not really trying to backswing so he can pull himself right through onto that fidget spinner while Casper is working his way through those steps. And then we see Quincy again a little spun around.
It is going to come down to a lot of pull strength, right? Being able to pull yourself through like Quincy did just there on that spinning disc. Huge way to catch yourself up. But Casper's not going to let him stay there for long. You see he's trying to get himself straightened away onto the disc here.
Ooh, Quincy a high grab on that rope. But he's sprinting through. He's onto the slider and has the wingspan necessary to reach onto that ladder. He's going to take 2 moves. Potentially more. No, he looked like he wanted to go, and he probably could have, but he's going to take 1 more swing to be safe. Meanwhile, it looks like Casper went down on the discs and is going to have to retry.
Man, got to give it to Quincy on that lock off there. It looked like he had to hold on to a nunchuck with 1 hand for a short bit.
Oh, and didn't really set up a way for him to link or reach right out for that red ring. But he's still going to pull through, and Quincy is going to get the buzzer. Casper just touching his foot on the back of that platform, and that's going to do it for him in this tournament with 2 fails on the same obstacle.
Hate to see it. Casper looked like maybe it's just the spinning discs are just so hard when you're a little unfamiliar. If you start swinging the wrong way, you can see right there he was still spinning around, and he just had to throw it. Just trying his best to get out of there. That is such a tricky obstacle. Good job, Quincy, and unfortunately, that's going to be the end of the road for Casper.
We're now going to continue in the comeback bracket with Griffin racing Jake. Griffin rocking the Action Athletics representation. Jake coming out of Ninja Stars. There we go. Ooh, Jake with a huge sprint early on, grabbing the rings in a very unique fashion so that way he can already preload his backswing to take that second ring off the hook. That's going to give him a slight edge coming into this 3rd obstacle. Jake is going to pop out, links his way through to the platform, and now Griffin, not out in no man's land, not out of it yet, but does have some ground to make up for. Good generation of swing here from both of these athletes. Griffin might have to go for it if he wants to stay in contention, and he does. Both of these athletes
Wow.
coming up to that rope slider, and there's Griffin whipping his way into that ladder. He's going to do one more pull and grab, dismounts, and is now just a half second behind. Oh my goodness, Jake. Both dismounting at the same time. It's going to come down to the last obstacle, Will.
Oh, let's see it. Who can link it? They both can.
Get down there first. Jake gets the buzzer just a little bit beforehand, 0.4 seconds ahead. What a race, Will.
I just got a highlight here. Jake linking early, and then he had 2 places, I think. On the TikTok, he took a few more swings, allowing Griffin to catch up there. And then again, he paused before the rope slider, and Griffin did not. He just kept on running. But, hey, Jake managed to pull it out in the end, getting a little bit faster down that bear trap. Next up, we're going to have Niall and Jacob. Jacob is our number 2 seed. He sort of took a little bit of an early out there in the first round. And Niall, if I remember, was really pushing the pace when he was running too. So this ought to be another really good match.
And there we go. Jacob pulling on. But here comes Niall with a huge reach. And are we going to start seeing some bigger skips? Not yet, but very quick work by Niall. He's going to have just about a half swing head start. Is he going to link his way through those discs? Yes, he is. And he's going to pop himself through. But Mr. Hartman pulling right on as well. Huge swing as well. Niall's actually going to touch down. Like you said, he is one of our taller athletes. His leg just kind of scraped the mat there. And that's going to give Jacob all the space he needs to pull ahead and get on to the nunchuck slider. Almost tips backward there, but manages to save himself.
Man, that was pretty close there, but it looks like as long as he can stay dialed for the sky hooks, that's going to be Jacob's victory. Great run from Niall. Really pushing it, really trying to put the pressure on Jacob, but unfortunately, looks like he got a little hung up there on the rope slider and took a second fail, and that is all he wrote. But both of them moving so quickly, so much confidence out of these athletes. And I've said it a lot for the younger divisions. I'll say it again now that a lot of this just comes down to who's willing to take the risks and if it pays off or not. All these athletes, give them a couple of tries and they'll link the dismounts on the spinners. They'll get the skyhook links. But being able to do it first, second, third try and then doing it every time after that, that's what's really going to separate the kids here as they continue down this tournament.
And here we go, Simon going up against Mr. Jason. Simon had a shocking fall. I do think that was a bit of a fluke. And we can see now huge pops out of Simon. Jason not out of it yet, but does have to correct his swing on that disc. Simon's going to take a minute to generate some swing on this TikTok. Can he turn himself around? Yes, he does. He's going to pop right through. Looks like Jason finally reoriented himself. So we could see a potential comeback here, but Simon is not letting up right now, not wanting to give any space for Jason to recover and reclaim the lead.
As it looks like Simon giving respect to Jason, giving it everything he has still. Love to see it. He still looks a little frustrated, even though he just demolished the course.
You know, I can kind of understand that. His run prior to this probably didn't go the way he wanted, especially after he had that ghost run to really gather information about the course. And so, you know, maybe just a little frustrated that he's still in the position of being in the comeback bracket, but definitely making the most out of it so far with his first win.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jason was such a powerful athlete. Unfortunate to see him go out so early, but great job to Simon moving on. And now Quincy's going to have another match here against Charles Graham.
Charles did have a pretty
Charles
good
was
race.
really doing quite well against Lucas, so this will be good.
Charles and Lucas went back and forth quite often. Now we're going to see if these athletes can clean up their mistakes a little bit and really push each other to their limits. Huge swing back. Quincy going for a skip. Charles going for multiple moves at once, and this is going to put Quincy very slightly ahead. He hops off and onto the agility right away.
Now, I think both of these athletes have gotten hung up here before, so let's see who can get through it clean this time. And Quincy looks like he's linking through, and he gets it. And oh no, Charles has to reset.
Huge generation of swing there on the TikTok from Quincy. He's going to pop right through that after one swing. Onto that ladder now. Working his way through obstacle 7.
See if he goes for that skip dismount again, and he does. He does not want to use that spinning bar if he can avoid it, it seems.
And now he's, again, you mentioned the lock-off strength. Didn't have the most amount of momentum on that slider, but used his lock-off to really push through. Meanwhile, Charles is over on the TikTok trying to gather swing, but that's not going to do it. Oh, and down goes Charles again as Quincy pulls on through, hits the buzzer, and keeps his streak alive. He'll remain in the comeback bracket for now.
Yeah, and it's tough for Charles. Unfortunately, when you're pushing the pace and you have to go fast, that he took 2 fails on the 2 longest obstacles. That's just how it goes sometimes when you're really trying to go your fastest. A small mistake can just spin you out of control. Good run from Quincy, managing to keep it alive. Definitely a couple places that he has to go faster if he wants to last longer in this course, though.
And Charles running out of time. Just touching down as well.
And here we can see what you're saying about that huge jump on the TikTok. Probably the most in control I've seen someone in the preteen division yet on that thing. Great run for both of those guys. And Quincy's going to be moving on.
Now we're going to take it over to the comeback bracket of the female side. Nope. Oh, are we having a rerun here? What is going on?
Interesting. So something wasn't reset quite right then. Or perhaps there's just
this does not appear to be Quincy and Charles.
No,
it's not.
It's Sebastian Robotin on the right, and
which means we might be moving into our winners bracket here.
I think that's Hunter on the left, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I see the ultimate obstacles. Sure, that's going to be Hunter on the left, Sebastian on the right. Sebastian, it's his home gym. He's a Ninja Mania athlete. So this is going to be a good race. We are in the winners bracket right now. So we're just chugging right along in the preteen male division. Looks like they're making sure everything's set up right on the course.
I think because there are 12 female preteen athletes, they're trying to get it to where it's 12 preteen male athletes as well, so everybody will be on the same page, sync up our schedules, and have our championship races at the same time.
That's good. That's good forethought. I don't have the brain power to do all that.
And here we go. Hunter on the left, Sebastian on the right. Hunter moving with a lot of urgency, going for big moves. Huge early dismount out of Hunter. That's going to give him a slight edge over Sebastian right now. Again, going for the links, but he doesn't. And Sebastian pulls ahead. But now a little bit of a stumble on that dismount puts them on even playing field right here. Hunter making the jump for the rope. And that's going to put him just ahead of Sebastian. Huge speed coming into that slider. And it looks like Sebastian went down on the TikTok. That's going to cost him some time. And that's going to give Hunter an opportunity to extend his lead. Coming down onto that cliffhanger, and down goes Sebastian. His run is over. Hunter secures the win, and he's going to pop his way through, down onto that slider, and to the buzzer. Great run out of Hunter. Congratulations to Sebastian as well on a very hard fight.
Man, Hunter is really blowing me away right now. I don't know how I haven't heard of this kid before, but he is tearing it up out there. I think he's probably had the fastest time of the day for this division so far. That was really great to watch. Sebastian, though, not out of it yet. Going to go to the comeback bracket. Going to have to fight his way back up, though, to get another shot at it. Next up, we got Owen and Jack.
This one's going to be very interesting. We saw A couple of places where they could have cleaned up their runs, and I think we're going to see a much smoother race from both of these people.
Yeah, these are some strong kids. You can see it. They got some strong looking arms here. So these kids got power. I'm sure we're going to see some interesting links, some good clean dismounts. Looks like Jack's taking the initiative.
Jack also has a bit of a height advantage here. Bigger wingspan, but that's not going to stop Owen. They're both a little twisted up right now. Jack's going to dismount first, and
Ooh.
Owen's going to actually take a drop so that way he can reset and try and get those discs a little more spot on. Jack, on the other hand, pulling forward into that slider, just has 4 obstacles left. And Owen goes down on the discs, and that's going to end his run. Jack Gillen has the win secured for this round, but he's still going to finish his course out anyways to see how much more he can improve upon his first race.
Yeah, it's really important, even if you know you've already won, that you stay dialed so that you can recreate what you're going to have to do for your next run. Jack, super clean, not a single mistake. Awesome job. Congratulations to Jack. And Owen's going to be making his way into the comeback bracket. And you can see here where Owen runs back. Sort of looked like a calculated decision to make sure that he can get a good dismount off the spinning discs on a second try, but didn't quite pan out the way he wanted it to. And we'll see him shortly in the come-up bracket.
And now we're going to take it over to our last race in the winner's bracket for the preteen male division. For now, it's going to be Lucas Savage versus Rocco Bellick.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Rocco was really crushing it when we saw him run earlier. And Lucas had a good run earlier, but if I remember, I think there was a place or two where he could have cleaned it up. So we'll see if we get the clean run out of Lucas Savage here and if Rocco can repeat what he did last time. It all comes down to how well these kids can manage their nerves. And honestly, at their age, it's so impressive they're even out here running this with the live stream going on. We got all these people here watching. The nerves that these kids can manage is really impressive.
Now, I do remember Rocco had some pretty quick pops on the discs while Lucas got a little twisted up. Lucas is going to have to clean up that obstacle specifically if he wants to keep this race close.
There we go. We see him shaking out one last time, getting ready, and here we go. We are off. Let's see what technique they're going with here. I see a lot of them doing that 2 to 4 move on the ring toss. Lucas with the first dismount, though. If I remember, Rocco linked this. Let's see if he can do it again.
Lucas links the dismount, but Rocco also does. He's just a tad behind Lucas. Definitely not out of the woods yet. Great move by both of these athletes, but Rocco foot taps on the dismount of the TikTok. He's going to have to try again while Lucas continues to pull ahead.
Yeah, Rocco tried to do that TikTok in one, and that's what he needed to do in order to stay up there with Lucas, but unfortunately didn't quite pan out, and now he's playing from behind.
Lucas, quick move over and down to the buzzer. That's going to be a win for Lucas Savage. Rocco Bellick headed to the comeback bracket. Going to keep going just to make sure that he can still be familiar enough with the course as he enters a new bracket.
Yep, getting through that slider. Those cliffs, real tough, man. Not the easiest types of cliffs there. But he's getting through it. Got plenty of time still. He's still a very fast athlete, so really good job overall.
And hits the buzzer.
And there you go. Lucas waiting at the end to give him a fist bump. Love the camaraderie. That's one thing this sport has in spades.
Now, this was a definite improvement on Lucas's end from his first race. You could tell he felt a little more comfortable with the course. Rocco as well just got a little hung up on that TikTok. Otherwise, he would have been step for step with Lucas. And it looks like I missed the race, folks. This is the last race in the winner's bracket. It's going to be Glinton versus Grayson. Grayson on the left, Glinton on the right. Grayson was flying on his last race, and that's exactly where he's picking up This time around, he's going to pull back, pop right over. Glinton about 1 or 2 moves behind him, but it's still early in this race. Anything can happen.
Yeah, now Glinton has been on the course more times than Grayson, but it looks like Grayson's just ability to link things is really taking him ahead right now.
And there we
Wow,
have it.
talk about
Grayson with a
confidence.
huge reach. Now, how far out is he going to dismount from? He's going to go right there, turn himself right around. Glinton still on the TikTok, trying to generate as much swing as possible as Grayson is coming up on the lily pad. Oh, a little trip, but he's alive. And Glinton gets out of there as well. Grayson, however, is going to grab that bear trap slider and hit the buzzer, sending Glinton down to the comeback bracket.
Yeah, and Glinton's been really pushing it lately, so I'm definitely keen to see some more races out of this kid. But Grayson, I mean, right now it seems like he's the one to catch. I don't think he's made a mistake yet.
And there's the buzzer out of Glinton. Great job. Just took a little bit of time to generate some power on that TikTok, which really allowed Grayson to run away with the win here. But Glinton, as you said, no slip-ups on the course. It's just going to come down to, can he do it faster than his opponent as he enters the comeback bracket?
Yeah, these athletes should really be thinking about 2 places. They should be thinking about how they're going to get through those spinners and how they're going to get through the TikTok. Because if they can make those 2 sections clean with as few swings as possible, they're going to have a really good shot of taking over their opponent. Back over in the winner's bracket now for the preteen female. We're going to have Riley Hunt on the right, Cameron on the left, and they're ready to get going.
This is definitely going to be a good one. Both ladies move with so much urgency. Slightly different approaches on the ring toss. Cameron going for an extra move while Riley is going for an early dismount. That is going to put some distance between the two of them. And Riley really setting up that skip. There we go. Links through to that dismount. She's going to run
and you
right
can see there, you can see that Riley was thinking hard about how to attack the spinners, and she nailed it. First try, linking right through it, putting the pressure on Cameron to catch back up. And it looks like Cameron is now actually on the same obstacle. Did a great job making up the difference there.
100%. Cameron definitely still pushing the pace, but Riley just might be going a little too fast for this specific round. She's going to pop herself right over there. Again, using that reach to her advantage. Hits the buzzer. And as she hits the buzzer, it looks like Cameron had a bit of a stumble on the cliffhanger transition right there. So
you see how Riley right there brought her legs up and kicked back so that she could set her hips, even though she didn't have that much swing. What great positional awareness coming out of Riley. Superb run. You can see here Cameron ran out of time on the sky hooks, has to come on down. But way to go, keeping herself in the race. Just sort of keep fighting on it.
Shout out to the resetters who are trying to kind of shoot the ring back onto the skyhook like basketballs. I've seen them get it a couple of times. They're average. They're like 60% from the field right now. Yeah.
I mean, as a coach, I can admit to spending a couple of minutes doing that sometimes.
Absolutely, I've done the same. All right, we're taking it back to the starting line. We're going to see Claire Danner race Grace Charbonneau.
All right, Claire, the girls look pretty ready to go here. Claire already had one head-to-head race, so she's used to that mentality, used to having someone else in the lane next to her. Grace, on the other side, I think she had a mistake or two during her ghost run, so let's hope that she managed to clean it up and sort of take a lot away from watching these other girls and boys run. You can see she's first onto the books, but it looks like Claire might have a little bit of more momentum getting the dismount a half second before her.
And Claire just about a full swing ahead, gets the early dismount, but Grace is not giving up at all. Ooh, a bit of a stumble into the TikTok by Grace. She is going to make the jump out first, though, and somehow doesn't touch down. What a save. This is a tight race here, Will.
Yeah, they've gone back and forth twice now, and we'll see. There we go. Grace getting the dismount a little sooner. And it might come down to skyhooks again, my dude.
That it will. No one slips up on the lily pads here, so it's going to be a reach and a pull. Who's going to get there first? It's Grace, or is it? I don't know who got that, actually. And it looks like Grace has that. I didn't get to
Grace
see the
by
time.
a quarter second there. We're going to have to look at this replay one more time.
Didn't get to see just how close that was, but it does appear that Grace has gotten the win over Claire there. And that means Riley Hunt is going to be facing Grace Charbonneau.
Great job there from both athletes. Claire is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the comeback bracket there. And here we can see a little bit more of where Claire managed to catch it back up. Looks like she maybe pushed a little harder coming off that nunchuck and then ran into the skyhook a little bit faster right there, getting the linked dismount, reaching and pulling, and by a fraction of a second.
Yep, I'm trying to find the exact split right there. It's 53.2 to 53.3. So within 1/10 of a second.
All right, next up, Malone Cantor coming out of New York City Ninja Academy and Kate Ruiz from Empire. These two girls compete together a lot. They live reasonably close, within an hour, I'd say. So they see each other at a lot of the same competitions. Very familiar. Malone had a really tough ghost run, so let's hope that she manages to dial it in a little bit more. Looks like she is, and Kate getting a little hung up on the books there. But she's already had one race with someone head-to-head, so she'll have a little bit of that mental edge.
All right, and here we go, Malone. Already progressing through the TikTok as Kate just gets off, enters the TikTok. There's about a 2-obstacle lead now. 2-obstacle gap separating Malone and Kate, but Kate definitely not out of it yet. If Malone makes a silly mistake or takes too many backswings like that, suddenly Kate is back on our screens and back in the race. And it looks like Malone actually overshot the platform. Counts as a fail on the nunchuck slider. And that did cost a little bit of time, but down goes Kate on the rope slider and the ladder. I think she might have just missed that dismount. Malone just going to have to reach out for that ring, slide on down to the buzzer, and secure her win. Great run.
Yeah, it looked like Malone fixed all of her mistakes from her ghost run. Maybe made a few more at the end there, that overshoot on the dismount being one of them. And Kate really doing a great job coming back there, but the rope slide or dismount, unfortunately, just took so much time from her that she couldn't close the gap anymore. And now we have this result here. Malone moving on, but Kate going to be coming into the comeback bracket. So it's not over for Kate Ruiz yet.
And there we see it again. What a huge generation of power from Malone there. Had to take a little bit of an extra swing on the skyhook. Probably going to try and cut that from her next run to save herself some time. But still a very commanding win overall. We're going to take it to our last race in the winner's bracket of the preteen female division. It's going to be Lola versus Katarina.
And here we go. They're all in the starting block. They're ready to rumble. Katarina on the left, Lola on the right. Both of these girls, really seasoned veterans. Looks like Katarina's got a bit of a height advantage, but Lola is moving quicker out of these ring toss pieces. And wow, really quick getting through there. Katarina is coached by Isaiah Thomas, and Lola is coached by Lucas Reale, so seasoned speed athlete coaches create seasoned speed athlete students. And you can see that here. Katarina, though, getting a little hung up on the spinning disc, but manages to get out of there.
And a great grab from Lola. She's going to get out of the TikTok first. Sprinting right through, but doesn't have the momentum from the previous obstacle to come into that slider. Could cost her a little bit as Katarina just glides right through. Only a couple moves away. Oh, but down goes Katarina. She's going to have to try again, and that's going to be very costly.
Yeah, and that sort of rushed dismount is something that we've seen a couple of times here already, where, I mean, it really just comes down to you don't want to have to reset on an obstacle that takes you that long, because it's not necessarily that you can't do it, it's just how long it takes. And this is a speed course. If you give your opponent 5 seconds, they're going to run with it.
And there we see Katarina trying to finish out. She's got about 20 seconds left, so she's going to get to the buzzer with plenty of time to spare. Great run out of both ladies.
Love seeing the smile, though, out of Katarina at the end there. These guys are all still friends, and we're all still doing the thing we love, which is ninja, so great job from both athletes. And that rope slider is super tricky, especially if you don't have a run-in or you're a little bit off. It can be real tough. And that spinning bar they put at the end there is almost diabolical, making sure that you don't have anything good to throw off of.
And now we're going to take it over to the preteen male comeback bracket. It's going to be winner go home for these gentlemen. Quincy on the left, Sebastian on the right.
All right, Sebastian in his home gym. Quincy a little out of water here coming from Stanford Ninja Academy. But I know that kid's fast.
And Sebastian maybe a little bit ahead. Quincy actually with a misgrab. It's going to cost him a little bit of time, but he can definitely make a comeback from this. Sebastian has gotten twisted up on the discs a little bit. Doesn't look to be a problem right now. He's going to try and link his way off, maybe taking a couple extra swings. The gap is now a little shorter, but Quincy's got to get out of there soon if he wants to have any chance of winning his race.
Yeah, Sebastian didn't link, and it gave Quincy an opportunity there to catch back up. But Quincy, unfortunately, getting a little spun around there. Let's see if he can keep his nerve and keep moving. It looks like he's already out to the TikTok now. Sebastian, though, really running away with it. Taking a moment to pad up for some more chalk.
And you know what? I really like this approach out of Quincy, staying very calm, doing what he knows he's capable of achieving. But right now, it looks like Sebastian's going to just give it a quick little pop over to the skyhooks, slide on down. And just as Quincy takes a little stumble on the lily pads, Sebastian's going to secure his place in the comeback bracket. He will be moving on in this competition with a time of 1 minute, 11 seconds to the buzzer.
Yeah, great job from Sebastian, keeping it alive. And Quincy, you can see, a little frustrated. That's all right, dude. He did a really good job. I think it all came down to here. Not even the ring toss mistake, but I think getting hung up on that spinner. If he had linked it, like we've seen him do in one of the previous rounds, I think Sebastian was going a little bit easy and might not have been able to make it. Or he might have been able to close the distance there. But that's in the past. Sebastian takes it, and now we've got Simon versus Owen. Two really strong athletes here. It's going to be a good match.
Now you can tell that Simon wasn't really happy about being in the comeback bracket, but he's making the most of this opportunity, going with a hand-over-hand technique, kind of twisting himself around, and that's actually going to give Owen a bit of an edge. He's now a couple moves ahead. Simon changing up his strategy on his third run-through.
I'm not sure how intentional that was. I think it might have been one of those things where you're in the moment and it just happens.
Possibly. It could be a habit of just doing the hand-over-hand technique in training. But regardless, Simon's made an incredible recovery, and now he's on to Obstacle 7, pulled ahead of Owen by quite a bit. He's going to dismount there and try and salvage the rest of this and come home with the win.
Yeah, you can sort of see that fire that Simon sort of had in him after he sort of saw that Owen took the lead there. It looked like Simon just said, "Oh, no, sir," and wanted it. Oh, he opens the door. Owen could still come back and catch him.
Owen's over on those cliffhangers. He's just got the lily pads and skyhooks, but Simon really linking through here, drops down, was a little too aggressive on that dismount. Took it nice and slow on that one, and is going to hit the buzzer for the win. Owen also pulling up to the buzzer. No fails for Owen as well. A great run overall.
Yeah, really. Owen had a good run. It was just a matter of Simon willing to take more big risks, including this one where he sort of fell backward a little bit. But keeping it cool, keeping it together, getting the buzzers. Good runs from both Simon and Owen. Unfortunately, though, Simon's going to be the only one left in the comeback bracket. And we got one more here for the preteen males, Rocco and Jake.
All right, there you see.
Both of these guys have had some really good runs already. They've got the experience.
Now, we've seen Rocco link in certain places. We've seen Jake do some skips in other places. It'll be very interesting to see whose strategy will come out on top here. Both gentlemen matching their moves as they're going right now. Rocco dismounting a little earlier, but they're both step for step. Rocco a little crooked on the agility, and that's going to send him low on the rope. Jake is going to pull ahead as Rocco tries to recenter himself.
Yeah, Jake got that linked dismount, and Rocco doing it as well, not letting Jake get too far ahead of him. Way to keep it in there, Rocco. That was a good fight.
But a huge pop out of Jake. He could have gone for an early dismount there. He's going to take one more before doing a one-arm dismount.
Unfortunately, it looks like Rocco maybe took an extra turn on the TikTok here. Don't know what happened. Maybe missed the rope. But yeah, you can see him right there trying to get his momentum again. And he gets through it. But already Jake has hit his buzzer. Jake will be moving on. You see him out of breath there. He really gave it everything. And Rocco had some awesome runs. Was a really, really great athlete to see here. But mistakes happen even to the best of us.
Also worth noting that Jake's time was 54 seconds, one of the faster times we've seen so far. Sub-minute definitely was expected out of this division. I'm curious to see how much faster these athletes are going to push the pace.
What do you think we're going to see? What do you think the fastest is going to be here?
Ooh, I think we're going to see somewhere in the 40 to 42 range by the end of this competition.
Wow, I like to hear that. I really hope we do. Yeah, man. I don't know if there's 10 more seconds for Jake to shave off of there. I'm going to guess around like 45 to 47. A little bit slower than you.
I think yours is more realistic while mine's a little more optimistic. But right now, we've got our next race up. It's going to be Jacob versus Glinton.
Yeah, with unlimited tries, I'm sure some of these athletes could probably get even a sub 40. But unfortunately, you don't get unlimited tries. You only get the number of tries you get, and you have to do it against somebody. So there's a lot of pressure. We see Jacob here linking his spinning discs. Glinton taking an extra swing. He knows he's got to get the dismount there to catch up, and he does. Great job, Glinton.
You can see just how much of his body that Jacob is putting into that TikTok. He's really making sure that every ounce of him is building up a big swing, and it paid off. Glinton takes a little fall on the TikTok, so that's going to cost him some extra seconds as Jacob continues to pull ahead. Quick dismount off that cliffhanger, again skipping that second ledge. A little stumble there, though. He's going to have to get up and try those lily pads again.
Oh, man. Had me nervous there. He wobbled on one of them, and if he took a second fail, then all Glenn would have had to do was beat the lily pads. But Jacob, keeping it dialed, manages to get his buzzer, and that's going to mean that he's moving on in the comeback bracket. Glinton, unfortunately, taking a fall there on the rope slider. Good job, though, Glinton. He did super well getting this far. Really phenomenal. There are some tricky obstacles out there. It's hard to keep your nerve when you're racing against one of the top preteen males as well.
And now we're going over to the comeback bracket of the female division. We've got Cameron and Faith as our first matchup. Looks like the course is just being reset as both of our athletes are chalking up and making sure that they are ready to go at the starting line. And there you can see the full bracket.
Looks like Cameron got one extra run compared to Faith just by nature of how the bracket works. So she'll have a little bit of an edge on the course. But Faith, we saw it. She has a really good focus, and she is definitely going to be pushing the pace. So I'm sure we're going to have a nice race here. Now, if we look in the top side there in the winner's bracket, we see there are 4 girls still that have not taken a loss. And they're going to be sort of sorting that out later, and they're going to seed down here into number 17 and 18 of the comeback bracket. So a lot more races coming up. Stay tuned. We're going to be seeing the top preteens duking it out all evening here. And I can see right now Cameron getting to the starting block in the background. So it looks like we're just about set here for another race.
All right, here we
Here
go.
we
Faith
go.
on the left side, Cameron on the right. Both of our ladies are bolting off the starting blocks there. Faith having to kind of switch her hand around and take an extra move while Cameron is already pulling herself through those floating steps. She's going to pull herself and pop on down, leaving Faith to take a couple extra swings there. Faith having to reorient herself. But
Oh, but
Cameron a little
Cameron got
circular.
stuck.
If Faith can hit this evenly, but she doesn't, she also starts spinning. And now we've got two kiddos on the carousel.
I was going to say it might come down to who can just sort of dismount and get their reset first, but it looks like Faith manages to actually control the spin. And Cameron getting into like a reverse grip setup, she's got to lock it off and really start swinging here. And she does, gets the dismount, and she is back in it. Oh, we got a race on our hands, Kane.
Faith is a little ahead in terms of building swing, but Cameron's going to go for it. She peels off
Cameron
but
gets
lands
it.
on the platform, and that's going to put her just slightly ahead of Faith. Faith actually does a misstep on the quad steps, perhaps stepped in the wrong area, but here comes Faith. Both have used their retries now. They're on to obstacle 7. Cameron goes down, which means that all Faith has to do is beat this obstacle to win the race. She's going to
If I
grab up to the
remember,
bar.
Faith actually failed this last time, but not this time. She knew she had to do it to move on. Unfortunate early exit from Cameron. Ooh. She had a great couple of runs, and Faith is going to try and finish up this course in the time limit.
Faith's going to jump back into it. Going to have to pull herself up. Doesn't exactly get her fingers locked onto that cliffhanger. Not a whole lot of lock off from her there, but still an incredible come from behind win. We saw that she really was able to focus her swing in on those discs, and that was what put her back in the race. A great job.
Yeah, and we can still see there the crux obstacles being that TikTok, the rope slider, and the spinning discs. It just comes down how comfortable are these athletes going to be on that spinning disc? Can they get it in 1? Can they get it in 2? Can they just make sure they aren't spinning around like a crazy cyclone? It's a tough order here. And now we got Taylor and Claire, both Ninja Mania athletes. This is basically just extra practice for them. It's like they're at home in the gym.
Ooh, a little bit of a wonky reach by Claire over there, but Taylor able to keep it close as well. Claire jumps a little further ahead, and I did mention before, Claire is one of our taller athletes, so she does have the ability to reach for things that some of our athletes might not be able to, and that's probably going to help her as she approaches the TikTok right now. And there's that reach for the rope that I was just mentioning. She's got quite a good lead right now. Taylor looks like might be a little spun around on those discs, but finally gets off and is going to be facing the TikTok very shortly. Good reach by
crazy.
Claire.
Even at some of these obstacles, it looks like Claire's like barely able to keep her feet off the ground. She is definitely one of the tallest athletes we have here, using every inch to her advantage, trying to keep herself ahead of Taylor, and she manages to do it, manages to get that buzzer. Taylor didn't make any mistakes, still had a very good run, no falls, but unfortunately Claire just kept the pressure up and managed to run away with it.
And there we have it. Again, like you said, Taylor put up a very solid run. Maybe took a couple too many swings on those discs, but at the end of the day, did not take a fall, was flawless on a technical term, and that's unfortunately just a little further behind Claire. So Claire and Faith will be racing each other later, but we're now going to take it to Claire Gallers and Kate Ruiz for the next comeback bracket race.
Absolutely. And we got, in this race, we got to remember too, Kate had she had an extra run in her last match. So she's got a little bit of a competitive advantage. She's been on the course one more time than Claire has. Claire, however, only really got hung up, I think, on 1 or 2 obstacles. So if she can smooth it out, then we're going to have another really close one down to the wire, hopefully.
And there you can see on the right side, in the right lane, we've got Kate. On the left, we have Claire. Both athletes getting ready to go. Just making sure that the course is reset. And here we go. Timer's
And
here. You
again,
ready?
just got to shout it out. The Tier 2 division is a great place to really get your first taste of Ninja, to sort of learn how to compete. Claire, this is her first Tier 1 event. Really proud of how well she's been doing so far. Holding her own right now against Kate. Maybe we got to move up soon, might be time.
Absolutely. And hey, Tier 1 next, Premier Series the next day, right? Well,
That's what
Kate
I'm
is
saying,
popping
man.
right through. And Claire, a little twisted
Oh,
up. She's going to have a reset. Kate, though, struggling a little bit to gain some momentum on that TikTok. And that does give a little bit of time open. Does that foot tap? Are they counting it? No, it looks like she just hit the back edge of that platform, not the floor. So she's going to progress through that. And now she's a little stuck on that rope slider, going to take a retry.
Claire's
But
catching up,
as we can
man. She's on the
see, Claire
TikTok
is
now.
over on the
Can Kate
TikTok
reach
now.
it? Kate gets it that time, keeping herself alive, but leaving some room for Claire to catch back up. Claire's on the steps now, quickly going to the rope slider. Could still make it. Claire's really good at this type of monkey bar movement.
And there's that dismount.
Woo!
Less than a single obstacle separating Claire and Kate right now. Kate really trying to make sure that she doesn't make a careless mistake on those lily pads. Is she going to link her way through this sky hook? She's going to reach right over. And it doesn't look like Claire's going to be able to catch up, but she's going to make it to the final obstacle as Kate hits the buzzer. We are going to see 2 buzzers out of these athletes today. Definitely something to be proud of on both lanes here.
Couldn't agree more. Great run from Claire. And, you could really imagine that race going a very different direction if she didn't make that small mistake on the spinning discs. Kate Ruiz, though, doing a great job keeping her mental, even with the mistake on the TikTok, staying ahead, cool and collected, getting all the way to that buzzer.
And there's our second buzzer of that race. Very exciting to see. We're going to take it back over for Rebecca and Katarina's run in the comeback bracket. Here we go.
You can see Katarina getting a little extra chalk on her pants in case she needs a quick little slap up, getting some more before the cliffs or something like that. Let's see how these girls handle this first section. You see Katarina going for a quick little gibbon move there to get to the books a little bit faster and dismounting from the third book, giving her a slight advantage here. Rebecca, though, moving fast through the agility, catching up in 1. And we'll see how these girls get through the spinning discs, going for that wide grip so they can get that quick one-turn dismount. Katarina getting a little hung up, and Rebecca is going to be taking the initiative. But there we go. Katarina lines it up, gets her dismount. Rebecca building the power. Let's see how fast Katarina can build it here on the TikTok. Rebecca going for the jump. She gets it. Maybe took a few extra swings there. Looks like Katarina's going earlier, and she also gets it. Now Rebecca stopped in the box, and it looks like Katarina ran right through. And there we go. Katarina has caught back up. The lead has changed once again. And Katarina getting the first dismount. Moving on to the nunchuck. Got to make sure you dial in on this cliff. If I remember, Katarina had to reset one time, but this time she is out of there first, touching the platform, moving forward, going through the lily pads pretty comfortably, and Rebecca one.
Oh, Rebecca goes down. And that's going to do it. Katarina's going to take the win.
And that's not the first time we've seen those lily pads take someone out in such a close race. It's one of those things where when you know you're only a quarter second behind, you might be thinking about the sky hooks before it's time to think about the sky hooks. You've got to stay dialed in on the obstacle you're on.
And there we go. Again, we see the back and forth. The lead changed so many times during that race. It could have been anybody's game. Like you said, it's just coming down to the smallest of details for our athletes here. What a run.
Yeah. And there are 10 obstacles that they have to beat, and not every single one of them could be one small detail, like you said, that just separates the difference. Now here we go. Jake Rotzman, Simon Gelman in the comeback bracket. These 2 guys have had 2 of the fastest times out of all of the preteen males. This is going to be one of the races that sort of determines, I think, probably one of the top 4 athletes.
Absolutely.
That's not official. I just have a good feeling that these guys are really fast.
I would agree as well. And here we see Simon get an earlier dismount there, but he's actually moving with a lot of aggression. Quick pops through those discs. He did that last time. He's doing it again. Jake just a little bit behind him. Who's going to go for that rope first? Simon making the jump. Jake right behind him. This is going to come down to who can be the most precise on these sliders and who's going to link those skyhooks the best, both dismounting at the same time. Simon just a little bit ahead. Jake having to climb himself back up. He's going to pop down first. Simon skipping some lily pads, tripping a little bit, but he's going to link himself right over. Jake coming into skyhooks as well, not giving up, but Simon hits the buzzer. 44.9 seconds versus Jake's 47. I don't know, man. I think that 40 to 42 range for times could be pretty doable.
Dude, I might have definitely underestimated these athletes. Phenomenal runs from both of them. You see how Jake caught up there on the ladders with some incredible monkey bar tech. That means there's still room for there to be an even faster time put up, and maybe we'll see it right here with Jacob and Sebastian.
And now we take it back. Sebastian's on the right, Jacob's on the left.
It's kind of unbelievable to me that 3 of our top 4 seeded athletes are here in the comeback bracket. Sebastian seeded 4th, Jacob seeded 2nd, and that's based on the power rankings, which is sort of how they do in the regular season comps. And we can see right here, Sebastian maybe a half swing behind, both athletes linking through the discs. Let's see how they handle the TikTok here.
Good move by Jacob. Sebastian taking an extra swing on the TikTok that's going to cost him a couple of seconds. And Jacob is really taking that to his advantage there, using his big old reach to only make 2 moves. And he's going to pop off that cliffhanger and leave Sebastian behind by about a whole obstacle. Quick link over. Good pop. One-handed swing down to the buzzer. Love that all of these athletes have their hands already hovering over the buzzer area, so as soon as they let go, they just land immediately on it. I think it's a great mindset to have.
Yep, all one-arm dismounts, baby. Might as well. And that race, I think it just came down to the TikTok where Sebastian took 2 swings, Jacob took 1, and it's crazy to think that 1 swing is really all it takes in these races.
Yeah, definitely one of the we're getting down to the wire here, Will. It's getting a lot more intense. And we're about to see that level of intensity as Claire Danner is going to race Faith Padilla. It's going to be pretty close. We've got one of our taller athletes in the female division versus one of the shorter athletes. But Faith has definitely been able to use her power in her tiny, small package of a body to really push the pace. So I think this one's not as clear-cut as we think.
Yeah, Faith is fierce for sure. Claire, though, I think has had maybe a few more runs, at least one more run than Faith has. So we'll see if that sort of experience advantage comes into play here.
So we see a skip move right there by Claire.
Woo! Looks like she skipped one of the books there to get the early dismount.
Faith coming up on the agility as well. Going to reach right up for that fidget spinner, and Claire actually takes a fall, putting Faith slightly in the lead. She's got to capitalize on this moment. Can't get herself stuck around like that because there goes Claire taking the lead right back.
Yeah, you can see Faith struggling to figure out the direction to kick. What you got to do on those spinners is lock it off, and now she's figured it out. Now she's kicking where she needs to go. She can get her dismount here. And she does. And she's starting to catch it back up. And there goes Claire, though, getting through these ladders, looking for that big old dismount, using her wingspan, using her reach to get that early toss across.
And it looks like now Claire's going to take a little bit of her time here. Maybe taking a cautious approach on those lily pads. Want to make sure she doesn't. She's also going to take a one-handed swing down to the buzzer and win the race for herself. Stay alive in the comeback bracket. I have a feeling Claire Danner is going to be quite the threat for our athletes in the winner's bracket in the future.
Yeah, other than that one hang-up on the spinning disc, Claire has had nothing but clean, fast runs. And you can see here, Faith really struggling with that spinning bar, but what a great run. I mean, spinning bars are tough, man. You grab it with one hand, and all it wants to do is slip you out. You need another level of grip strength to really be comfortable on those things.
And there we have it again, Claire's buzzer. Going to stay alive and continue through the competition. But now we're going back to Kate and Katarina. Again, both fighting to stay alive in this competition. It's a win or go home situation for all of these athletes here in the comeback bracket. Could be anybody's game.
Yeah, and they're seeded 6th and 7th, so the points would suggest that this is going to be a very close run. I'm excited to see they both had really exciting races so far. It really just comes down to who's going to hit the links, who's going to do things in one swing instead of two. And we'll start it off right here with the first place that some people have taken advantage. Looks like Kate's going to get to the books first. Katarina right behind, actually. Might be able to get that earlier dismount. And nope, they're neck and neck.
Oh, swing for swing right now. Both girls catch it pretty straight on and dismount at the same time. Kate maybe had to straighten herself out before going on to the TikTok.
You can see both girls looking over at each other like, are you going right now? Are you going right now? Okay, I'll go right now too. Wow. It's as close as it gets here. Kate using her big old reach. Katarina doing a bunch of small quick moves instead. It looks like Kate gets out of there faster. No mistakes from either athlete. This is a clean run, a great race. Kate pulling ahead. Can she link it? Needs the backswing. If Katarina can reach out right away, she might have it.
Oh man, it's Katarina! Kate falls just before the buzzer onto her knees, lands on the platform, but just missed out on that.
Wow. That's another phenomenal race. Back and forth 3-4 times. Katarina able to link out of that skyhook move, using her reach to her advantage. Kate just took one little backswing, and like I said it before, one backswing, unfortunately, could mean the competition for some of these athletes.
And here we go back in the winner's bracket for the male division. We got some athletes super hyped on the sideline. We got Lucas Savage racing Jack Gillen. It's going to be a very close race. The winner will lock their spot into the Final Four.
Yeah, these guys have both had really clean races, but notably they've now only, I think, raced twice. So they're a little bit behind the curve in comparison to the comeback bracket, where some of those athletes have had 3 or 4 races.
Lucas, quick link through. Was expecting the same from Jack, but he's going to actually take an extra swing or two. Lucas turning around, popping right through, and is going to try and extend his lead. He knows that Jack isn't one to make silly mistakes, so he knows he has to keep moving. And just like that, Jack is back right behind him, breathing down his neck. Lucas has to get out and get going if he wants to stay in the lead.
This might be the 42-second time we're talking about.
The skyhook wasn't reset. Lucas takes the win. Unsure as to if there will be a rerun. Considering Lucas won, I feel like his coach wouldn't really want to contest that. It's still a great run.
It's probably a little moot to try and get a rerun off of that one. But really phenomenal speed out of Lucas. That was so impressive. And good eye on that resetter, being able to put it back just before Lucas got there.
And again, a fist bump between both of our athletes, showing some sportsmanship there. Love to see the respect. Lucas Savage locks himself into the top 4. We're going to see who will be facing off against him as Jack Gillen is sent down to the comeback bracket.
All right, Grayson, Ruckus, and Hunter. The showdown in Massachusetts. And there we go. They are off and at it. Hunter has been incredibly fast, but so has Grayson. But Hunter taking that early dismount here. Grayson quickly catching up, though. These boys are both so efficient.
Grayson actually links a little faster, and Hunter actually steps off. He thought he'd failed and had to reset from the very end. No, he just had to get back onto that tornado turnaround point. But that little slip up does give Grayson some wiggle room to really push forward. Hunter not letting up at all, though. I do think that it's possible for him to come back from this. As Grayson misses the dismount from the cliffhanger, now Hunter pulls ahead.
Oh my gosh, a small oversight there from Grayson. Or rather,
But
it's just the
Hunter
cliffhanger.
falls on the lily pads.
Oh my gosh, this race is crazy, Kane.
And Grayson takes the win in one of the most wild back and forths we've had. They hug it out, knowing that they just gave it their absolute all, sign of respect for each other.
You can see right there the moment where Hunter thought he had made the biggest mistake, and he managed to keep it alive and keep going and keep the pressure on, and it looked like he was going to walk away with it. But you can't count out the lily pads. That's what I've learned from watching this.
And so that means
always
that
got to train more lily pads. Agility type obstacles can get you at any time. Never let down your guard for a second on those things.
I actually have never trained lily pads, and I really want to. I really need to. Let's rephrase that. I need to.
Yeah, you know it's going to show up at like every course you go to. Lily pads are, I think, one of the best obstacles coming out of DGS for their for agility training, no doubt.
100%. But that does mean that we've got Grayson racing Lucas in the final four. The winner of that race will lock their spot into the top two, while the other will have to work their way back up if they want a shot at winning the championships through the comeback bracket. We've got 6 athletes left on the preteen male side, and I do believe it's time to head over to the winning bracket for the preteen female division to see how our final 6 are going to shake out matchup-wise.
Yeah, and I mean, I gotta be honest here, Kane. My heart has been pounding this whole time. It is really exciting watching all these head-to-head races. I love seeing it. You can see the emotions on these kids' faces every single run, every victory. You can see them getting excited, getting stoked for hitting that buzzer. And sometimes the course takes the win instead.
I got to agree, man, especially as we're getting down to these final few rounds of the competition. The competitors are getting faster and faster, the moves are getting bigger, and the course is getting even more unforgiving when a mistake is made. And that is just keeping me on the edge of my seat. Definitely think that this is a hugely successful test event, considering I can't really think of anything about this format that I'm finding flawed. I can't think of anything that I'm not entertained by. I can't wait to try one of these myself in the future.
Yeah, I can definitely see this becoming another way for people to qualify for World Ninja League events. Can maybe even see this become sort of its own little mini series, the way Premier Series has obviously blown up. Lots of room to grow here with the head-to-head. I mean, it's always been popular. We think back to Wolfpack Tour, stuff like that. Head-to-head has been a part of the sport for a very long time. American Ninja Warrior Jr., the newest season of American Ninja Warrior. You're seeing it in the semifinals, seeing it in Stage 2. It's always a part of the sport, and I'm really glad we're now able to bring it, not just for the elite level, but for every age division. And you can see it's a good thing we did because these athletes can bring the heat.
100%. We knew that we had some speed demons already in our community, and now this is their biggest platform to shine. They're also going to get their chances in the Premier Series and in their regionals, as well as our flow courses are meant to be designed as speed courses. But what better way to assert your dominance in speed over other people than to race side by side, constantly back and forth? You have to think all of these athletes now have gone at least 4 times on this course. And again, I brought up their speed, I brought up their power, but also equally impressive is their level of cardio here and their conditioning to do this course over and over again.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think you mentioned it earlier that ninjas don't like to train cardio, but man alive, is it something that we need. When you have to run a course that's 3 minutes long, you can't be getting out of breath a minute and a half into it. So you hear me out there, ninjas. If you're watching, if you're tuning in, make sure you get your cardio in. Set a 3-minute timer and just do obstacles for 3 minutes straight. It's not that fun, but you're going to get really scary good if you start doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty insane event as we come into our final six athletes. We've got again Grayson and Lucas in the winners bracket, and then we've got four athletes down in the comeback bracket. That's where I'm getting the number six from for those who may not be totally familiar with double elimination brackets. We are now down to six. So really, after every round, we're only losing about 2 to 4 athletes at a time, and I think that's again providing a lot of great opportunities for our athletes here to show their stuff and really put their skills to the test. And now we're
Here
coming
we
back
go.
into the winners bracket of the female division. Grace on your left, Riley on your right. Both of these athletes have been blazing on different parts of the course. I feel like Riley really put the pedal to the metal on the first half of the course, but Grace definitely knows how to work her way through the sliders on the back half and close gaps.
Yeah, and they're both from Ninja Mania. They must race each other all the time. And woof! Riley
Wow.
cooking up some speed there. But
I gotta say,
Grace
I
right
love the
behind.
camera angle. The camera angles as they stride across those steps in the slider, they all look so fast and so athletic there. You can see Riley just not even being phased by anything. She's gonna pop right through, grab onto that last ring, and get to the buzzer. Grace, on the other hand, might have tripped up on those lily pads there. She's gonna get to the
Can't count
buzzer.
out the lily pads. They're a tough one. But there we go. Grace hitting her buzzer. The girls giving each other a little bit of a dap up right there. And I got to shout out that cameraman in the middle really makes those transitions look cool.
Absolutely. They are doing their best right now. They're doing some of their best work. In terms of tracking two athletes at the same time, this might be some of the best live camera work I've seen for a ninja event.
Now, I didn't have the time in front of me. Did you see what Riley's time was there?
I believe it was definitely sub minute. It was 50 something. It was close to a sub 50 if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, really pushing the pace. I love to see it right there. And now we got the last match before we sort of figure out who our, well, at least one more person in the top four is going to be. It's either going to be Malone or it's going to be Lola. And they're both really experienced veterans of the sport. And you can see there Malone taking a little bit of an initiative, getting that earlier dismount. Lincoln right into the spinning disc. Lincoln the dismount. Lola on her tail. Lola getting a little faster around that tornado bar. Who's going to get off at first, though? It's Malone by one swing.
Malone now has a pretty good lead over Lola, as these extra swings can really take time, but Lola may be looking to get an early dismount. There she goes. This race is definitely not over, Will. It's going to come down to those sky hooks, or who's going to trip up on the lily pads? Neither of them.
Oh, man, I hope it wasn't going to.
Oh, man, and Malone does get the buzzer first. 48 seconds to 49. What an incredible run. Malone just slightly edging out Lola.
That's my favorite run right there, man. Watching these two girls put the pedal to the metal the entire time. All gas, no brakes. Absolutely incredible. Watching that sort of speed. Perfect.
Oh, man. Will, we've got some matchups in the comeback bracket for the male division. Jacob versus Jack, and after this is Simon versus Hunter. We have some heavyweight battles coming up right now. This could go either way as long as they don't make too many mistakes, but also go for the big sends that are going to help them set them apart from their opponent. You do have to risk it for the biscuit every now and again.
That's true. Absolutely the case. We see here they're making their way through. Jacob and Jake. Or Jack, my bad.
Ooh, Jacob, quick links off the disc. Jack, a little stuck there. This is not his first time being a little caught up there, but hopefully that's his last time being stuck there as he can potentially recover.
Yeah, Jacob's last run, he was just so smooth. It looks like he's repeating it through this whole section. And this is right where Jack usually catches up to some of the people. You see those fast monkey bar moves. Can Jacob get the dismount in one? He can. And as long as he maintains composure, he should be able to take it away right here.
And it looks like he's going to. Jack is going to get to the sky hooks and pop through very quickly. But with a 49.4 second run, Jacob will be advancing to the final four. There we see
Well, that was
those
a
moves.
superb race right there. I love it. There was no mistakes. Jack took one extra swing maybe on the spinning disc, and Jacob just sort of kept his composure, getting all the way through.
Yeah, great utilization of the links there. Goes to show that every backswing from now on does play a crucial role into who wins or loses. We'll see if Hunter and Simon will go blow for
All
blow
right,
on
this
this
is the
big old battle.
I'm going to call this the ultimate showdown. I say that because both athletes from Ultimate Obstacles. It's going to be a real test. Simon getting through that a little more composed. But Hunter right behind.
And it looks like Simon's going to link that dismount first and hit the turnaround. Hunter also linking. Simon taking one extra swing on there.
No!
Oh, but he misses the dismount, and it ain't over, folks. Hunter actually pulls ahead on that TikTok. Catches. Oh, my goodness. Big move from Hunter,
Simon.
and I think Simon's just cracking under the pressure a little bit. Hunter, big move
Holy
right
cow,
here.
man. What a race. Hunter
And
pushing
Hunter
ahead right here, but ooh, he has to go back. Simon could close the distance.
And if Simon does, he's going to have to link everything. He's going to have to risk it to get the biscuit. But it looks like Hunter's going to lock in that win. Move on to the Final Four. Great run out of Simon. Again, we see here that Simon did have an early lead with those quick links, but with a couple of careless mistakes, I think the pressure just got to him of having someone as fast as Hunter right next to him. They were definitely pushing each other, and at the end of the day, it was Hunter who kept his composure a little longer than Simon.
Yeah, hate to see it. Simon was our top-seeded athlete, but Hunter, well-deserved win right there. Both of them really breaking out the best of each other. That's part of what it's all about for me. I want to see these guys pushing each other, becoming better. And we're going to see that again right here, Katarina and Grace.
All right, ladies, let's go. All gas, no brakes. Come on. Big pull. And Katarina's out of there first, just a little bit.
And here we go. Oh, my Lanta getting that quick dismount right there. Katarina catching up, though. It is so close. It is just a few steps away. It could go to anybody.
And they're both on the slider. This is going to be a huge move by Grace.
Oh,
Katarina's turning around.
Grace looks like she slowed down a little bit on that.
Oh, no! Katarina grabs back on the slider and actually has to take a fall. And that means that Grace is going to run away with this.
Oh, Jiminy Crickets, you hate to see it coming from Katarina. She is such a strong athlete. She had that obstacle. She's been so fast throughout this whole event. But Grace is one of those competitors you have to give it 100%. Great run. You see the camaraderie. The girls giving each other a hug. This sport, so much love in this sport. They know that they're going to see each other at more competitions. They'll probably do this head-to-head again sometime. They know it's not over, and they just want to, it matters. You feel a lot better when you beat someone when they're at their best and you're at your best. You want to have it to be the best run possible. And both girls there laid it all out. Phenomenal runs. Grace locked herself into the top 4, and now we'll see who can join her, Lola or Claire.
This is an interesting one. I think it's size versus speed right now. Lola has a lot of pack to her punch, but Claire is able to static so many of these moves and save herself so much time while also moving fast on these agility-based obstacles as well. It's going to be a very interesting battle. I actually can't see what's going on. I dropped my glasses. Jinkies.
Oh, well, I did that yesterday on the course. It is tough to see what's going on when you don't have them. But right now, I'll tell you, Lola's making her way a little bit ahead using all that speed that you said. She packed into that little body, and she has done it. Claire making her way up onto the TikTok. Looks like she's using that height advantage to get an early dismount. Holy cow, she did that really quick.
But here comes Lola making quicker moves, maybe not as big as Claire, but still keeping it very close. She's going to pull herself up to that cliffhanger and dismount as well. But Claire right now just slightly ahead. Lola's going to have to pop her way through. It's going to be close, but Claire gets the buzzer.
Oh,
and Lola
wow.
hits the buzzer as well. 48.8 seconds for Claire.
And that's one of the fastest we've seen. I think her and Malone might have the fastest 2 times on this side of the field right now. And again, it's just so amazing. These athletes are so consistent, and it's just details, tiny little details.
And it looks like now we are jumping into our final 4 as Jacob is going to be racing Hunter for a spot in the final 3.
That's right. And these kids have both been crushing every race. Hunter had a little bit more time up there in the winner's bracket. Jacob has been climbing himself up and out of the comeback bracket this whole time. Oh, man. This could go either direction. I don't have any predilection of who's going to take this one.
Hunter with a huge move on the rings. Jacob just a little bit behind. Early dismount for Hunter. Jacob has to kind of get himself back up there. But here we go. Hunter going for those links again. Jacob slightly behind him. It's anyone's game right now, Will. Now he's going to have to really build up the power on that TikTok to hop up and bop to the top. There we go. Hunter moving through that ladder. Jacob just one move behind him. It's going to be a big dismount.
Oh my gosh. This is just an unbelievable race. Hunter managing to get that dismount. Oh, a little stumble. That could be it. Oh, the one-hand save on the...
Oh my goodness. Gee willikers, Batman. Jacob pulls through with the buzzer. 48.5 seconds.
What oh my gosh, Kane.
world?
Talk to me about what just happened there.
I'm not entirely sure what I just witnessed. It looked like a little bit of a stumble there for Hunter. And it wasn't a fail stumble. It was just a little bit of missed footing. And that allowed Jacob to really come through in a straight line and link his way through those skyhooks. Oh, man, that's going to put
congratulations to Jacob. He sort of cemented himself now. I think that is the top 3. Jacob is guaranteed, but it's going to be between him, Lucas, and I think it was Grayson, right?
Yes, it was.
And here we go.
The final 4 matchup.
Grayson and Claire now.
Anna. Claire with a huge reach onto that floating step. And there we go. Both ladies linking out. Now here comes that crucial reach. Are they both going to go in one? Yes, they are. Claire off a little bit earlier, but Grace keeping it very close. They're going to reach right across. There's that wingspan from Claire. Going to dismount just a little bit ahead of Grace, who's a little crooked. But she's going to jump right back up onto that nunchuck slider, onto the cliffhangers. Both ladies go. And Grace actually takes a fall as Claire is going to hop right into the skyhooks, reach on over for that bear trap slider, and hit that buzzer. Moving on to the top 3, Claire Danner, a great run.
Claire is so impressively consistent. I think if we took all of her runs and we averaged them, I don't think they would be much further than 5 seconds apart. Every single time, it seems like we're seeing her just dialed in, hitting the link on the spinners, getting through everything within 1 or 2 swings. So impressive. Well earned for Claire. And Grace, top-tier athlete. So sad to say goodbye at this point. And now we've got the winner's bracket for the preteen males. We got Lucas Savage on the left, Grayson Ruckus on the right. Going to be a good one there right off.
This is an interesting
Who will it be that's going to bop to the top of the standings here? It looks like Grayson's getting the dismount a little bit quicker.
Ooh, Lucas is getting hung up. It looks like Grayson's going to capitalize on this. Jump right through. A big leap out to that rope, and Grayson is on the move again. Lucas redeeming himself a little bit. Now onto the TikTok, definitely covering lost ground for sure.
Yeah, you saw Grayson took a little look back behind him to make sure to sort of see what's going on with Lucas. He hadn't seen him, and now he knows that Lucas is getting a little hung up.
Yeah, it looks like Lucas also took a spill on the TikTok, but managed to save it. But it's not going to be enough to catch Grayson. Just too many errors at this stage in the game. Grayson with a huge 49-second run to send him into the top 2. Lucas is going to
Yeah,
have to
but it's
race
not over
again.
for Lucas. This is his first loss. He's going to have to go back to the comeback bracket where he gets to race Jacob Hartman Bimbo for another shot at racing Grayson. Look at the camaraderie, a little smile on Lucas's face. He knows that he was just pushed real hard by Grayson. What a great race. There he is. The unfortunate fall from Lucas. That agility is really tough. I mean, I'm pretty sure I took a fall on it yesterday during my my elite wave. It is not a joke. Those things can move so quickly.
Yeah, they look like they rotate a lot faster than we think because we're seeing such a high level of success on that obstacle, but it's just a testament to the footwork here. And now we've got Malone and Riley racing. The winner of this race will be in the top 2 for the preteen female bracket.
Yeah, don't blink or you'll miss it, everybody. This is going to be a real good race.
And it looks like Malone really putting the pressure on Riley as she knows Riley can move very swiftly through these courses. Doesn't want to give her any type of advantage. Going for the skip, but opts to take a second swing. Both of our ladies going to be jumping right through here.
It looks like Riley managed to run through her dismount there off of the rope. And Malone is just a single swing behind. We'll see if she can catch it up here. Cliffhangers are her strength. She's a big fan of those. Making it through. There you have it. Riley putting the pedal to the metal and getting her buzzer.
All right, and there we have it. Riley Hunt's going to be locked into the top 2. But again, shout out to Malone for keeping it very, very close the entire time. Just came down to those skyhooks.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Malone maybe somehow kick it up another notch in her comeback race. Because again, that is her first time taking a loss. Just like our boy here, Lucas Savage, against another really top-tier athlete here, Jacob Hartman Bimbo. These guys have been so consistent all day. I think it was just Jacob had a little bit of a hang-up on his first run, Lucas on that last run. Let's see which one can iron it out and keep it smooth. Boys are off.
A great jump. Lucas trying to skip around, but Jacob looking a lot more casual with it in the sense that he's not having to use every inch of his wingspan. But here we go. Lucas with a quick link. Is he going to get off? Yes, he is. Jacob right behind him. It's all gas, no brakes for these two gentlemen. A spot in the top 2 on the line. A rematch against Grayson. Lucas pulling ahead. He's going to reach up for that ladder, but so is Jason. They are one move behind each other, about a half swing away. They're both going to dismount. Lucas first and Jacob next. Lucas almost fell backward, but managed to save it. And now they're both going to dismount off that cliffhanger. Lucas tripping over the platform, and Lucas slipping on the lily pads. And Jacob, after being in the comeback bracket for quite a while, is going to work his way into the top 2 to face off against Grayson for the win. What a comeback story.
That was so incredible. It came down to the wire. They were within probably a foot of each other that entire race. This is exactly what we wanted when we started doing this. Watching these amazing head-to-head races. Jacob just showing his consistency, making sure that he doesn't overlook those lily pads. Not again. I think he did it once earlier, but this time he's getting down to the wire. And now we've got Malone and Claire. Claire has been running so consistently, absolutely crushing. Malone took her first loss. Let's hope she can keep herself together mentally. I know she's a really mentally strong athlete. I've trained with her a couple of times. She is so powerful. She can do the 12-foot lache, so the 12 for 12 as well. Let's see here. she can get out of this rings a little bit quicker.
Malone is actually out of there first, though, and is really sprinting through, trying to make sure that she can capitalize on it, but it goes a little crooked, and this is where Claire pulls ahead. Dismounts first, and is now going to have a bit of an advantage here. She's going to do that reach out for the rope that she always does, and is going to continue to crush this course, but here comes Malone.
Yeah, where does Malone make it up? She's got to do it somewhere. She's got to do it soon. Oh,
Claire,
it's coming down to the wire here.
Coming to the skyhook, where we know that Claire is just going to have to reach Malone, going for that quick link, but it's not enough. Claire Danner also making her way out of the comeback bracket and will be racing for the championship title against Riley Hunt.
Yeah, that means it's a Ninja Mania first and second right there. Love to see it at the home gym. Really great fight, though, from Malone. That was an amazing race. I hope that kid is proud of herself. She really showed it up today. And now we're going over to the preteen males for the final, maybe final race. What could happen here? Give us the rundown, Kane.
Well, essentially, to win a double elimination tournament, you have to win 2 races in the final. So if Grayson wins this race, that'll be his second win in the final, and the title goes to him. But if Jacob wins this, we go to a sudden death tiebreaker race between these two. It's anybody's game right now, but the stakes are definitely higher for Jacob as he's fighting for his life a little bit.
Yeah, but we got to remember, Jacob's also simply done more races. He knows what he has to do a little bit better. He's a little more dialed. Will that make up the difference here? Grayson, a half second ahead. Maybe a little bit low on the agility, but making up for it, linking through right away off the spinners, keeping low, moving fast.
Ooh, it looked like Jacob wanted to go for the rope immediately.
I'm so impressed. It looked like neither of the athletes had it, and both of them just seemed to extend and to get there. That was so good.
Oh, Jacob a little twisted up there. You could tell that he wanted to go earlier than he did off of that ladder, and Grayson is running away with the win right now. It looks like we do have our champion, and it is Grayson Ruckus taking home the title in the preteen male division. Jacob taking a respectable second place. A very great run out of both gentlemen.
That was incredible. Fantastic run. What a way to end it. The preteen male division. So much talent in this division. 11 and 12-year-olds, but man, they could beat most people older than them. So incredible. I hope all the athletes that showed up are proud of what they've done, what they've managed to accomplish, because this is going to be the future of Ninja right here. This is something that I hope we see a lot more of because it's so exciting. It's so fantastic.
Well, now we take it over to the preteen female division where Riley Hunt is going to race Claire Danner. If Riley wins, the title is hers. If Claire wins, we go to sudden death. Now, this is very interesting because they both have their own strategies. They've stuck to their guns all tournament. That's why they're here, but they're very different approaches, and I'm excited to see which one's going to result in the faster time.
Riley's only run a couple of races today, but every single one she has just been attacking. Claire has more time on the course, and we'll see if that is what she needed here in order to take it from Riley.
Well, Riley with a slight lead coming into the TikTok here, but you can't give Claire much space on that TikTok. You know that that's where she makes up a lot of ground. Same for that huge reach, but she is going to take one extra swing. She's a half swing behind Riley now. This is going to be a massive finish. It's going to come down to those sky hooks. Or Riley might be pulling just a little too far ahead for Claire to catch up. Riley onto that bear trap. Coming on down. Takes the win with the buzzer. A great time. 44 seconds. And then 46 for Claire. 44 flat from Riley Hunt. What a race.
That was so good. Claire just continually impressing me with her consistency, her perseverance there, never letting up for a second, but Riley wasn't planning on giving her any room to breathe. You can see just how close that was. So fantastic.
Well, that is going to do it for our tournament there. You see Riley Hunt taking the win in the preteen female division. Grayson Ruckus taking the win in the preteen male division. Congratulations to all of our athletes today on incredible races, especially doing this over and over again. It's impressive to win a race, it's impressive to run a race, but it's even more impressive to do it round after round, and that's exactly what our athletes did today.
Yep, and now you see them playing around, getting their redemption time. What a great time out there. Ninja Mania, my hat's off to you. They did an incredible job running this event. Fantastic facility. Hopefully we get to do another one sometime soon.
Definitely looking forward to it. In terms of a test format, I am very happy with the turnout of this event. Hope all of you are too, because I know I enjoyed commentating and watching all of these incredibly entertaining runs, and I would love to see this more widespread in the World Ninja League. And with that, I do believe that we are wrapping up our stream. Will, any final thoughts?
No, I just want to congratulate all of the athletes that ran our top three. I think we had Riley, Claire, and Malone for the female side. For the male side, coming down to Grayson, Jacob, and Lucas. So congratulations to those athletes. Holy cow, we saw so many great runs. And, Jiminy Crickets, I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, oh my Lanta, that was some crazy runs. That was a sleigh. And with that, we are going to wrap up our stream here. On behalf of Will Schlageter, I'm Kane Casillas. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you at the next major World Ninja League event. Can't wait. Toodles.
Toodles.